Hi, I'm Joanna Albin, and I am doing the book The Infernal Devices Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I don't know if you can see that because it's really laggy, but I've already included the information, the creative team publisher link, in the comments before I posted the video. So, the interesting facts about this, it is actually a graphic novel version of one of my favorite novels by my favorite author, Cassandra Clare. The original book was a part of a 3-book series, which I've already read, but after the 3 books came out, they turned each of these books into a graphic novel for the fans and all that other stuff. So it was really interesting to see the characters and scenes come to life from the pictures, because I absolutely just loved these books. For reading the book, I already had like most of the ideas and the setting and the characters imagined in my head, but actually seeing it on paper and the pictures and stuff was really cool. So the first 2 pages, or the first several pages, are actually in color. That way we kind of get a feel for what the characters look like with the colors and stuff, and then the rest is like a regular graphic novel with black and white stuff. So, where do the acts occur on the page numbers? Where does Act 1 and 2 begin, and 3 and stuff? Well, it's really hard to tell with this thing because it doesn't actually have a lot of the pages in the corner. Like here it does, but it'll go literally for most of the book without having any page numbers until like through here somewhere, and then they'll finally do a page so without actually counting. But so I hope it's okay that I just say that Act 1 ends just after Chapter 3. Which in Chapter 3 they discovered that this, the bad guy, the Magister, is actually a vampire leader, and then this girl, the main girl, Tessa, along with a shadow hunter girl named Jessamine, they're attacked by basically these robot things that are made to look and act human. So there's a little bit of action and stuff there, where, let's see, Chapter 4 is really when things begin to pick up. They meet the Enclave, who helps the shadow hunters make decisions, and then they send more people to help. They sneak into a ball to find the Magister, and then they end up meeting with a warlock who helps them figure out the blueprints for the automatons, and they figure out that the Magister is actually using a combination of like human flesh and like technology stuff and demon energies to actually make the robots look and act like humans. So the Magister confronts them with the prisoner, which is Nate, the main girl's brother, who she's been looking for. And then there's this huge epic battle itself, and stuff between the shadow hunters and the Magister and his vampires, while Tessa rescues Nate. And this is all Act 2. I believe that Act 2 starts at Chapter 3. I don't know if I mentioned that. So the battle's a success, but of course the Magister gets away, because it would end too soon if he didn't. So I gotta figure out where this happened at. But yeah, this is with the shadow hunters and the, I don't know if you can see because it's really laggy, but the shadow hunters and the vampires going at it. So they get back, and then they treat her brother who's dying, and then that's where Chapter 4 starts. It literally, or this is Chapter 4. Literally, this Chapter 4 takes up like a really big portion of the book. It's crazy. Like, here's the beginning. Yeah, here's the beginning. Chapter 4, and that's right here, and then you literally have, I mean, that's a pretty big chunk, and that's where a lot of the action takes place. So, Chapter 5 and 6 continue with Act 2. They're attacked again. Nate tells them that the binding spell to make the automatons, the robot things, come to life can only be done at the full moon. They get a fake lead on where the bad guy is, which takes all of the warriors out of the house, which means that the main girl and all the servants basically are attacked by the robot army thing. So a lot of servants die. The Shadowhunter warriors discovered, they fight, they end up figuring out that they've been betrayed and all this stuff. That's where Chapter 7 begins, and it's discovered that the person that actually gave them the lead to the place where they're at is actually the Magister, so it was a cool epic twist and everything. So they actually return back home in time to see that most of the servants are dead and Tess is missing, but she's actually at the heart of the place. at the home. She's just kind of in the back or whatever. So one of the Shadowhunter warriors comes in there, confronts the Magister. He believes Tessa's Will, the Shadowhunter, believes Tessa is dead. So it's this epic moment, which this is like this is where whenever the Shadowhunter warrior Will that believes that Tessa is dead and confronts the Magister, this is in chapter 7, and it's on page 220. So page 226 is when chapter 8 begins, and I believe that is when Act 3 begins as well. Of course, that goes up to the very end of the book, and that literally chapter 8 just ties up loose ends, and you know they do the last several scenes, couple cliffhangers, to make you wanting the next book, and so that's where the entire book ends. Okay, does the story have a solid story arc, beginning, middle, and end? Yes. Okay. Tessa Gray travels to England hoping to meet her brother when she is kidnapped by 2 old ladies who are actually warlocks. They torture her to unleash her supposed warlock powers, which she knows nothing about. There she is introduced to a man called the Magister who wants to marry her. She can change into any person if she holds something that person has, and this includes dead people too. She's rescued by warriors called Shadowhunters, who are beings that hunt demons to keep other supernatural creatures in check. So they take Tessa to their home base, which is called an institute, where they promise to find her brother. There's all this epic action, like I was mentioning before. They think the Magister is actually the leader of this vampire clan, and so there's this epic battle there in the middle of Act 2. They rescue her brother and stuff like that, so he's dying. He gives them, helps them figure out that the Magister's waiting for the full moon to do the spell to animate the Automatons. This guy called Mortman, he actually gives them the Shadowhunters a lead on where the Magister is and his army. So they go there. They end up when they go there, the Magister's not there. It's actually the 2 warlock ladies from the beginning. And the warriors are all gone when the automated army attacks Tessa and the servants at the Institute. So by the time the Shadowhunter warriors return, all of the servants are dead, and the Magister has Tessa at the heart of the Institute. So one of the warriors, Will, he confronts the Magister, and it looks like Tessa's dead on the floor, and so he freaks out because there's all this blood, and of course, they're love interests, so it's even more dramatic. And then so the end boss fight happens, the Magister gets away, and Tessa's woken up. Tessa ends up waking up. She used her shape-shifting abilities to make them believe that she was dead when she wasn't. But in the end, it's discovered that her brother is actually working with the Magister, murdering innocents and trying to create the army of metal robots, and it's left on a cliffhanger because, of course, they both get away. So the character arcs. Well, one thing about Cassandra Clare is I love with her novels, and including these graphic novels, is her character arc. She has really rich character development, and literally no one ends up being the same. So, which is the meaning of a character arc. But anyways, Tessa originally starts off denying her warlock heritage and not understanding this supernatural world that she's been thrown into and stuff. In the end, she embraces her powers and ends up staying and working with the Shadowhunters. Of course, there's 2 other books after that, so, if she left, that would kind of be boring. James is actually a potential love interest for Tessa, and he's also one of the Shadowhunters. He's actually, he's kind of sickly in the beginning, and they get to know each other, and in the end, it turns out she discovers that he's actually dying, and not only that, but the medicine that he takes to cure it will also kill him, so either way, he's screwed. So he wants to enjoy his time with her and stuff like that. His parabody, which is actually a Shadowhunter term for a special bond, which is closer than marriage, but it's like brotherhood. You're warriors, you fight better together, and all this stuff. His parabody, his parabody's name is Will, who is a Shadowhunter, obviously. Will is also a potential love interest for Tessa, so there's this love triangle going on top of everything else. And James doesn't know of Will's feelings. And Will spends the whole book trying to push Tessa away, and it makes everyone irritated. But in the very last scene of the book, Will is seen. He actually goes to see a warlock named Magnus Bane. Right here is the scene. He goes to see a warlock named Magnus Bane in hopes of breaking some sort of a curse that's on him. It's the curse. Well, judging from what's said and stuff, because it's really vague and they leave it on a cliffhanger. but the curse is actually what's making him push Tessa away, causing her to gain more feelings for James, even though James is dying. So, which is what's happening in the entire book. So at the end, they're trying to figure out a way to break the curse, and we have no idea what this curse is or what it does. So, of course, fans of Will are, freaking out about that. Does the story have effective transitions, and do we know what they are? Yes, the book really does. The action itself moves through the pages very smoothly, which makes it easy and enjoyable to read. So there's not really any confusing elements. A lot of times they'll do a scene like this where it has a setting when they're in a room, and then it'll have another smaller box and it'll show specific characters where they're sitting or something like that as the dialogue happens. Does the story make use of a page as a mini comic? Yes. The pictures vary themselves. They even use splash pages, which, like this is one of them, which that's Will right there. They have, and then over here, like it has several different boxes, and then you go to the next, I lost it, but there's all kinds of different ones. So it really makes the entire graphic novel feel like a real comic book because of all the different pictures and how they move the action and smooth it through, and how much it changes and varies throughout the whole thing. So they use a lot of big pictures a lot of times too. It's not really, that one's not a splash one, but it is a pretty big one compared to everything else. So, okay, does the story make effective use of directional flow? Sometimes the dialogue is a little heavy-handed. I mean, it was a novel first, so sometimes not, that's actually an action scene, but like this point, before the action scene begins, the bad guy does his inner monologue thing. So some of those big bubbles you see on this side, no, wrong one, on this side, is, right here, is actually the bad guy doing his inner monologue. So sometimes the dialogue can be a little heavy-handed, but the pictures and the action in the pictures combined with the dialogue completely makes up for it. They really help move the story along, and it's actually the perfect combination with the dialogue and the pictures and stuff. It really, it actually really enveloped me and pulled me into the story and its world. So, which, like I said, it was a graphic novel first, or it was a novel first and turned into a graphic novel. So for me, seeing the characters come to life, seeing the settings, and the effective use of the pictures and the beautiful artwork combined with the use of dialogue from the books that we've already read really just enveloped me and pulled me into the story and pulled me into this world with the characters and everything else. So I can't really think of any other observations or anything else to talk about, so that's basically that. Yeah, so The Infernal Devices Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. Written by Cassandra Clare, and the artwork's done by a different guy, but anyways. So, I hope that covers everything, so